Senator Warren, like she kind of created this. She wrote some letter about the bank, and then there is some, at least in the article, there is like some kind of question if she has coordinated with some short sellers. And this was about the Silvergate, like I don't know, it's the allegation in their article. And this might have caused the devils like the first bank to fail. So like they were trying to hit crypto, but they might have nuked their fiat system, the whole fiat system. It's just strange, They
Yes.
went after crypto, but they nuked the whole fiat system in
Yeah.
the process. Yeah, it's because it's very chaotic. And the signature bank, it seems like it wasn't even insolvent. They just destroyed it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mtambo's podcast. My name is Jakub Mtambo, and today I'm joined with my longtime friend, Jakub Simek, who is a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's podcast, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about the current developments on the banking crisis, BitSignal, $1 million bet by Balaji Srinivasan, and the general updates in the crypto world. Well, Jakub, it's good to see you again on Mtambo's podcast. How are you doing, brother?
Good to see you. Still enjoying my parental leave. So, but it's getting to an end, and I'm gonna go back to work in 2 weeks. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good. A lot of been has been happening. Since we had the last podcast, the banking crisis has been looming for a while now, and it's only getting worse. What do you think? Is the banking crisis such a surprise?
Right. I mean, I still remember the 2008 crisis. The subprime mortgage lending crisis, and this is some indicators are already like past, or bigger than the previous crisis. It's like the discount window. Some of those charts that also Balaji Srinivasan is sharing. They look like he calls it the digital. I didn't hear the use of this word. I mean, in this sense, digital it's like 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0. It's just like totally vertical. Like you have like I don't know. There is like just
Actually,
almost nothing, and then
as-
like vertical.
yeah, I
Or,
can share the tweet by Balaji. Yeah, it's here.
yeah,
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 so
yeah. So,
so it say just in 2008, the bank lied. This time, the central bankers, the banks, and the bank regulators have lied to all dollar holders and depositors. This isn't your typical fractional reserve situation. The problem is that there isn't enough in the banks on a mark-to-market basis to cover withdrawals. They knew this through all the last year and communicated it internally in their coded language. It's obvious from the graphs below. The central banks, the banks, and the banking regulators all knew a huge crash was coming. The phrase is unrealized losses, but they never notified you, the depositors. Instead, the regulators allowed banks to hide their the literal insolvents in footnotes until one guy figured it out. It's Uncle Sam Bankman, just like SBF used your deposit to buy shitcoins, using accounting tricks to fool himself and others into using the money. So too did the banks. They all used the deposit to buy the ultimate shitcoin, long dated US treasuries, and they all got wrecked at the same time in the same way because they bought the same asset from the same vendor who devalued it at the same time, the Fed. Specifically, as New York Time admitted, banks binged on enormous amounts of treasuries and other long-term bonds in 2021 when the flood of printed money cut off their typical demand for loans, and because they thought the Fed would keep interest rates low forever. He goes on and say and they had good reason to believe this. Powell said he would be patient on rate hikes as late as November 3rd, 2021. Then he got renominated on November 22, 2021, and hiked rates much faster than anyone had expected, which even Yellen and the FDIC admit caused the current banking crisis. Why did Powell delay? Probably for political reasons. Presidents don't like don't like rate hikes, especially running into the election year of 2022. And Powell thought he could wait and just be like Paul Volcker, who was firm and then defeated inflation. But the world isn't an 80s rerun. Hiking from 10 years of near zero interest rates in the 2010s was a surprise attack on every dollar holder. Economics isn't politics. The kind of insane flops you see in politics don't work when there are actual contracts involved. So anyone who bet on long-term treasuries got killed in 2021, and now anyone who bets on short-term treasuries is going to get killed in 2023. The absolute worst place you can be is to have large amounts of assets locked up in 3 months treasury bills. 5% interest rate offered by the big banks is a trap. Most fiat bank accounts are now a trap for those countries whose central bankers followed the Fed. So he ended there. Otherwise, buy Bitcoin and get get your coins off at exchanges. So yeah, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's nice. He ends like with, if you trust the US bankers and US media, ignore me. Otherwise, buy Bitcoin and get your coins off exchanges. Hashtag BitSignal. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the guy has been good at predicting things. He predicted about Corona. Maybe you can talk about it.
Yeah. So, like, if there are some new listeners, like you, Duke, and me, we recorded like 40 episodes in the series called the Daily Balajisms. So, like, discussing Balaji Srinivasan's ideas. So we are quite familiar with them. Also, we did some kind of meetups or some conversations around the network state, and so we are kind of active in this area. And of course, like, this is like exactly like Balaji in his kind of mode from the early Corona days, where he kind of like got into tweeting 24/7 about Corona. And he had like this famous tweet. He had like many tweets, but like one from the 30th January 2020. It was like very early, before people like the regular people like got concerned with COVID. It was like 3 weeks or something prior to even like people freaking out about COVID. But he kind of wrote like several kind of ideas, like or predictions that actually came true and became reality. Like, the people will be wearing masks, there will be nationalism rising, like even some border closures, if I remember correctly, and some kind of like things that are like from a sci-fi movie, but then they became reality like in a month or in 2 months. So and like now with this like quite striking prediction, like that this is the crisis, this is the mother of all banking crises that might actually end the US dollar dominance as a reserve currency. And Balaji went on some podcasts to explain like why he thinks this is the case. He shows some graphs, he quotes official sources like this FDIC, Fed, or some like traditional media. There are more and more sources like popping up, and then when he started to talk about this was after SVB Bank, so failed. So Silicon Valley Bank failed suddenly, and he got kind of concerned like how this could happen, and then he kind of found out that all the banks actually face similar risks. The difference with Silicon Valley Bank was that the community in Silicon Valley, it's kind of like very digital, very online, and actually there were people discussing that the Silicon Valley Bank might fail through group chats, and they kind of coordinated this kind of it's not like they coordinated the bank run, but they precipitated the bank run. They kind of caused the bank run by being very online, very connected. And it's also interesting that these group chats are like upstream of Twitter, because when the news hit Twitter, it was kind of too late to act. It was like then just too many people tried to withdraw, and it was just too late. But those people who were connected, like let's say some venture capitalists and their startups, and like people who discussed it on private in DMs or like different group chats, they actually managed to get their money out. So it's like Balaji says that Twitter is upstream of the downstream media, what he calls not the mainstream media, but the downstream media. But like in this case of the Silicon Valley Bank failure, we saw that Twitter actually the group chats are upstream of Twitter, which is really interesting. So yeah, and so this was like the beginning, the Silicon Valley Bank. Then actually before it was Silvergate, there was some crypto focused bank or pro crypto bank that failed before, like I don't know, I don't remember, was it like a week before Silicon Valley Bank, or some time, like short time like that. And then there was this signature bank, which seems like the bank actually didn't fail, but it was like it was like murdered by the regulators, just like in the fog of war. It's just like they destroyed another pro crypto bank with the important crypto infrastructure, like so it's crazy times. And
this shows like they're trying to block us, block the exit, or blocking people from entering into the Bitcoin asset and invest into, as a hedge fund, as a hedge asset.
Yeah, that's one of the claims. It could be actually. It could. There is like this Nick Carter, and he wrote also in the Pirate Wires, and then he wrote as a guest writer. I think it's Mike Solana. He has this like a Substack called Pirate Wire, and he wrote there about the Operation Choke Point. Choke Point 2.0, which is like a new kind of coordinated effort to destroy crypto industry, by like unbanking it. It was like previously there was this choke point, the first version under Obama, that targeted the various industries, like it could be like also like some gun legal industries, like legal in the US, but they try to unbank them, like it was concerning, I don't know, cannabis, guns, some other areas, crypto as well, and this seems like it's another kind of like similar effort that it's focused currently only on crypto, or it seems like it's focused on crypto. And the difference is that it's not like it's kind of extrajudicial, or extra legal. There is no new law. It's just like bankers are trying to informally pressure. The bank regulators are informally pressuring the banks to to provide them more and more information on the crypto clients, and to choke out their business, just like, so the banks are then the banks decide that this is just too much hassle for us to get involved with these guys, but it's not legal, it's like extrajudicial, or there is no law like banning crypto or something. So it's just like proactive regulators are trying to kind of, it's something similar like with Twitter files. It's just like you have free speech in theory, but then it's kind of gets through various regulators or even like private entities, it kind of gets choked. Yeah. So, and then actually, sorry, they're just like saying that this is like one narrative that actually this might have caused the current banking crisis. It's not like the crypto caused it, but that the regulators trying to choke out crypto caused it, because there was like the first the first bank, the Silvergate, fell, and they it kind of they went after banks. The Senator Warren, like she kind of created this. She wrote some letter about the bank, and then and there is some. At least in the article, there is like some kind of question if she has coordinated with some short sellers, and this was about the Silvergate. Like, I don't know, it's the allegation in their article. And this might have caused that it was like the first bank to fail. So like they were trying to hit crypto, but they might have nuked their fiat system, the whole fiat system. It's strange, they went after crypto, but they nuked the whole fiat system in the process. Yeah, it's because it's very chaotic. So like, and the Signature Bank, it seems like it wasn't even insolvent. They just like destroyed it, like just in the process, like in the fog of war. And since then, we had Credit Suisse, which is like the big systemically important bank that had to be sold to UBS. And actually the Swiss regulators, which they had to change the laws.
Maybe just to mention about the Credit Suisse,
Okay.
this was the only bank in which sustained the 2008 recession. It was the largest one at that point. And even actually I think it bailed out UBS. Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember back
the
in
US
those days.
UBS,
Okay.
so they also bail out them during that time, and this time changes very very quickly, because at that time they are the only one which was sustaining, which was stable, which didn't fail during the 2008 recession. Right now it's UBS, which is now buying Credit Suisse at even at a lower price, than its value.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and they changed the laws actually overnight. The Swiss regulators, and just for this sale to be possible, because otherwise I think the bondholders at Credit Suisse, they would become like shareholders, if not dominant, then it's kind of like important shareholders in the new entity, and say they kind of like I mean, it's very strange how they changed the law, and now the bondholders actually will not be made whole, so on their holdings of bonds. So it's very strange that such a like big important bank in the Switzerland can fail like this, like overnight. And the Swiss authorities provided like a big bailout also, like, or like some like financial infusion for this to be possible. And now there is also Deutsche Bank reportedly has some problems, and there was also some 60 billion credit line provided by the Fed, I think, to an unnamed bank, but probably that's the Deutsche Bank. So it's crazy times, and Balaji has this like he wrote this original BitSignal tweet, then he put his like his own money into like I don't know, there was like 1 million for this BitSignal kind of competition to share some memes around it and to spread the word. And
actually,
then
I can display the tweet here.
And then so that was like the original kind of his approach.
So he
Yeah, it was
said,
March 16, 10
yeah,
days ago. Yeah.
10 days ago, he said, how do you ring the fire alarm on the internet? How do you show it's not a false alarm? I'm putting up the bit signal, $1 million in BTC to alert us to the stealth, what he calls stealth financial crisis. $1,000 per tweet for the best 1,000 tweet. Reply with the charts, graphs, stats, memes, bring attention to what is happening because the central banks, the banks, and the bank regulators have bankrupt all of us. They hid the insolvency from you, the depositors, and they are about to print 2 trillion, hyperinflate the dollar in the digital age. This will happen very quickly. So buy Bitcoin now and get your coins off exchanges.
I mean, yeah, there was his original tweet. It had actually 5.3 million views, but that's nice. And but then he got into he replied to another like a Twitter user who wanted to bet someone that there will be no hyperinflation. So he was like, "I'm betting you 1 million that there will be no hyperinflation." Betting anyone 1 million, and actually Balaji accepted the bet, and he was like and he said he wanted to set it up as a smart contract, but now I think it's either a smart contract or they have some kind of escrow. But the idea is that it's like 1 million versus like 1 Bitcoin. So it's like the winner will get like 1 million and 1 Bitcoin, and but the bet is that actually Bitcoin will be about 1 million US dollars in 90 days, which was like 10 days ago, so let's say in 80 days or
Actually,
something like that. Yeah.
the guy was James Medlock. He
James
tweeted,
Medlock. Okay.
yeah, he tweeted, I'll bet anyone $1 million that the US not enter hyperinflation. And after that was 17. So after some hours later, Balaji replied, I'll take that bet. You buy 1 BTC, I will send 1 million USD. This is actually 40 to 1 odds, as 1 BTC is worth 26,000 K at that time. The term is 90 days. All we need is mutual agreed a custodian who will still be there to settle this in the event of digital dollar devaluation. If someone knows how to do this with the smart contract, we can do it on chain. So I can send USDC. If you want to do that, name a custodian. And actually, later,
yeah, sorry, can you show how many views had this way?
Actually, it
It's
had
12 million.
12.7 million, you know.
Yeah,
And
crazy.
crazy. Actually, he updated later that we are moving forward with the bet, just working on escrow logistic. But Bitcoinization may come at you first. So don't wait on us to get Bitcoin. When the printing starts in earnest, currency collapse can happen in days.
Yeah, and he shows it like with the table, the list of hyperinflations like this throughout the recent history.
Yeah.
Which there is sometimes like how like what in what days or hours the currency lost half of the value, or the price is doubled. So there was like Hungary in 1945, in 15 hours the price is doubled. In Zimbabwe it was like every day, so 24.7 hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. And actually this is an important chart because many people there are various kind of like critiques of Balaji. One is that he's doing it just to pump Bitcoin, because he's like a hodler, he is like like a large holder of Bitcoin. At least people presume that he has like a large stake. Somebody reported that he also like converted like most of his wealth into Bitcoin. I don't know if it's true. It's just like I keep hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
But people then like kind of calculate that okay, he had like, let's say he broke the internet with this bet for a week. There was like a lot of Yeah, it was like a really good meme. At least you saw like it was like twice as many views or more than his original bit signal tweet.
Yeah.
And there were like loads of podcasts. He went on a couple of podcasts as well. Lots of podcasts discussing him. And so there was like this like Jason Calacanis from All In podcast. He has this kind of more cynical view that okay, the Balaji is like trying to just like earn, earn some money, or the bet will, I mean, he will earn more than the bet of 1 million. Actually, he made another bet with another guy, so they're like two
It's 2
million.
million.
Yeah, $2 million. Plus,
Yeah.
actually, the third million he just like gave out for these like in this meme competition around BitSignal. So it's like okay, let's say it's 3 million. But if he has a
But
like large position, if the I mean that's like the critique. I don't agree, of course, with this critique. But then if the price goes up, let's say about 30,000 or something, then he will be he will still be in plus in he will like yeah, he will get more than what he spent on this like great marketing. But I think, if you follow Balaji for a long time and you heard him speak on many podcasts or read his stuff, he's like kind of, he's not motivated by money. He's like more of this like academic type, and he never like pumped like any coins. He almost never discusses price. He's bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but of course he invested in many other currencies. We discussed this Solana Grizzly tone that he
yeah.
also spoke about, and he kind of says that okay, if this actually really happens and there is this devaluation of dollar or hyperinflation, then on the other side we will see Bitcoin as being digital gold, like a kind of like the new reserve currency of the world will be born. But then you also need like some kind of like a financial system, like so the Ethereum or maybe Solana for some cases might be, will become like the next like next financial system. I mean, he mentioned Ethereum, but like it's just like I will add that probably also Solana, because Ethereum might get expensive, for some use cases. So but also on some other occasions he discusses other chains that, let's say, also mentioning Solana, that for some use cases, I don't know, some NFTs or something like some gaming NFTs or what, Solana is probably better, than Ethereum, like because it's cheaper and stuff like that. And you have also these layer truths. Okay, not to get too technical, but this is like one critique. But I think
But do you
is
think
what.
also,
Mhm.
don't you think also, is that this is also, people say this might also be a marketing plan to raise awareness of the shortcomings of debt-based monetary system and paving a way for hyper Bitcoinization?
Yeah, I mean that's another kind of opinion or idea. Okay, that's like a great kind of marketing. Marketing for a budget of, let's say, 1 million or 2 or 3 millions, as we discussed. So he will get like a lot of mind share, and like okay, he might become like a guru in the Bitcoin maximalist space or something. But I don't agree with both of these kind of viewpoints. I don't agree that he's doing it for money, of course, and he's also not doing it for attention. I think he's like really just doing what he says. I mean, of course, you can have many motivations at the same time. It's like you can have many at the same time, but I think if the only motivation or the primary definitely is to ring the alarm, just like really ring the digital alarm, because as Peter Thiel said, like the Bitcoin price, the US dollar and Bitcoin price in US dollars is like the only honest signal that we have in the world, like how the financial system is doing, because like other markets can be like gamed, or tampered with. They can be fake, but this is like the only unfakeable signal and honest signal. Like so, the Bitcoin price, in dollars. So yeah, so that's kind of like the idea, like that would, if Bitcoin goes to 1 million, that is like, this is the unfakeable signal that the new digital and reserve currency was born, and it's better than, let's say, if renminbi, the Chinese yuan, becomes the reserve currency. And it's of course better than like the chaos that would be here without Bitcoin. I mean, still there might be a lot of chaos. And another critique is like, okay, but like this is like kind of this is doomerism, it's like it's like too much doom, and there will be like the Mad Max world,
Yeah.
without the US dominance. It's probable, but I think what will happen is that it will be more like the when the Curtain fell and the communism ended, in the early 90s, like in 1989, the Czechoslovakia, like we had this Velvet Revolution. In 1991, the Soviet Empire fell, and then yeah, and so you know so and then what you saw after that, there was also hyperinflation actually in many of these like satellite countries of the Soviet Empire.
I think Ray
And
Dalio also mentioned that, in his piece of principle of the new world order, principle of
yeah,
dealing with the new
exactly,
world order. Yeah.
that's what basically Balaji, that's his argument, that he's like saying basically the same thing as Dalio, but he's saying that this will happen in 90 days. So like get ready, that's what he's saying.
But I don't think like I respect Balaji's prediction and all that, but don't you think like 90 days is too short? Yeah, of course I think maybe it's just an awareness. It's just a bit signal. It might not be 90 days exactly, but I think 90 days anything can happen. But I think maybe 90 days for Bitcoin to reach $1 million seems very ridiculous. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
strong
there
word.
is another guy, Arthur Haynes. I don't know if you follow him. I think he's like at Crypto Haynes on Twitter. I listened actually twice to his podcast about this Balaji bed and basically banking crisis. He's really cool. He's like, it's almost like he swears a lot and stuff, but it's like he knows like really like it's like a detailed explanation about the banking crisis.
Mhm.
He was on Bankless podcast, so Arthur Haynes. Yeah, I recommend listening to him, and
Mhm.
he thinks that it will happen within like 2 years. So like he also says like Balaji is like probably wrong with this,
Mhm.
with his timing, and it will happen in two
I,
years. But
I,
what I think actually, just like I was thinking, like, okay, maybe Balaji, in his head, he was like, it might happen, like, let's say in 1 month, and then he like put some, just to be sure, he put like 90 days, So
Mhm.
I think it could happen, like, let's say between 2 months and 2 years, something like that. So
Actually, if you may think that 90 days is crazy, actually, Catwood of the Ark, Invest, said that
mm,
this could, in another podcast, I think, it was in another podcast, and she was saying like this actually might happen in 85 days, and actually it might be even 1.5 million USD, not even 1 million. So
yeah, it's possible, but there were bigger jumps than this. Like I'm not sure if I even maybe even a shorter periods, like, but it was like. But the difference is, it went like from zero something dollars to, I don't know, something, it was like
yeah, it's true.
but in percentage terms it's like 40x. I mean, but we saw it like, I don't know, with Ethereum, I saw
Actually,
it in.
actual Bitcoin did it in the first bull run in which happened. It actually moved like 400% up. Actually, this one, if it moves to 1 million, it would be about 62%. So it could not have beaten the first three bull run. because the first one, I think it was 400, and then another one, the second one, I think 100 and something, and then the third one, it was
Maybe
100 and
not
something.
percent, but like X, like the 400x or 40x, because this would be like 40 times, 40x almost.
Yeah,
So it's
40
like
times, yeah.
4,000, 4,000%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's like 4,000%, but yeah, but with some, I don't know, some, in crypto, I mean, it's kind of, it happens, but the issue here, I think it's really just the psychological thing, because it's like, it's funny, but like lots of people have these like 1 million as a really some like big number in their head, so it's like 1 million, and of course it's much more difficult to grow from, let's say, 100,000 to 1 million than from, I don't know, 1,000 to 10,000. It's like
Mhm.
mm, it's like once you are big, it's more difficult to get bigger, or it's just like it's like when you're growing from small base and it's like exponential, but you have these like kind of S curves, so it's like nothing is exponential to infinity, but it kind of hits some kind of barrier somewhere, and then it kind of plateaus. So
Yeah.
but 1 million is kind of like crazy, because people, it's just like a number, like to be a millionaire or something. It's like it's just like it's just like a significant number. But like 40x, to make 40x, it's not that astonishing. But Balaji is betting really on the end of the dominance of the US dollar.
Yes, actually, just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that it's not about the price of Bitcoin. People moving. Yes, of course, in the process, people will be moving their money from their banks, converting it to Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin. But for his argument is all about like the hyperinflation that will occur in the US dollar. So it will lose its value, to Bitcoin, something like that. So it's not like Bitcoin being pumped because of price, like the way it moves normally. But now this is like comparing the US dollar and Bitcoin, because now the US dollar will lose its value due to hyperinflation and printing of the money. So this one now will make the Bitcoin to reach $1 million, very, very
Yeah,
fast.
exactly. Yeah, and maybe also because like the stocks would go up as well, and then tech stocks would go up, and the crypto as even much more, and Bitcoin as the shelling point, the most important crypto asset, or the first the OG crypto asset, would be the strongest, and also yeah, I mean. Uh, I think it's he Balaji is like showing these kind of charts and graphs which are what he calls it, they go digital, meaning like
Mhm.
totally vertical, it's like from 0 to 1. Yeah, and they look scarier than in the 2008, and what we didn't have in the 2008 was like such a strong social media, so
Yeah.
connected, so many apps, like these group chats that we discussed, and
Mhm.
also like these social wars, like on social media kind of wars, cultural wars, and people
Mhm.
already, yeah, I mean, people believed in the system much more than they believe now, actually. And I have this concept. I wrote like a couple of articles, like it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Mhm.
around the network state. And one is like, it's called like Overton Wales and Pragmatic Antagonism.
Mhm.
And so I think actually after after like a week after that article, something you could see like actually Balaji as an example of this concept, because he really became like an Overton whale, which is like, you have these crypto whales, like people with like a big positions, like who are like big investors and they can move the markets. And then there is this concept of Overton window, which is like what is the acceptable discourse, like what is the mainstream discourse. And you can like expand the Overton window, to kind of change the minds, to shift the minds of people, like to like kind of new realities, like what was not what was taboo before.
Yeah.
And so, and Balaji connects these two topics, like Overton window and and the depth chart of like a market depth chart. Where you could see like what is the sell, you can sell, or you can imagine like you are selling or you are buying let's say assets, and the same is like what is the demand and what is the supply of ideas, and so he's kind of connecting the depth chart with the Overton window. And so and he has also these concepts of like a venture journalist, or like angel influencer, a venture journalist, these kind of ideas, like venture capitalist plus like a journalist, something like a word cell and a num cell or something, like people who are good in coding as well as words and writing words or creating content. Okay, so here's this concept, but I came up with the name for it, which is like an Overton whale, So it's like, it's not a crypto whale, but it's like Overton, not an Overton window, but like an Overton whale. And it was like, okay, but now I have the example actually, because this is something different, It's like someone who can move the Overton window, like quite a lot, and so I think Balaji is actually a good example of this, like Overton whale that can actually move the Overton window like quite rapidly on the topics like the dominance of the US dollar system. So it's like interesting to see. And also like he's like pragmatic in his antagonism, and the question is, okay, I think it should be so because he's like against extremists. He was also against Bitcoin maximalists, but now he says like he's not a Bitcoin maximalist, but like now everyone is a Bitcoin maximalist today, so he's not, but we are all Bitcoin maximalists today. That's his quote. So he's against like many kind of like I don't know, extremists, like let's say the woke, also like the kind of like the blue tribe, and how they are a bit corrupt, and they are not smart regulators. So they're like the analog regulators in a digital world. Yeah, and basically the question is another critique of this, he's bad or something, that he's not pragmatic enough, or like, because like the meaning, like, okay, Bitcoin is such a small kind of retail driven asset.
Yeah.
And now the crypto is experiencing this crackdown, what Balaji calls, there might happen something like what might happen is something like a digital lockdown. We had like the physical lockdown, but we could be like digitally locked down out of, or locked out of crypto. The all the fiat to crypto bridges might be burned.
Off and on ramp. Yeah.
So people should buy Bitcoin and get it off exchanges before this happens. And actually, you can follow. You can see.
And actually, said like he adds like also like despite buying and get your Bitcoin off exchanges, also you should also look for a favorable jurisdiction like Florida. The governor of Florida actually he wants to ban the CBDC in his state, and is more pro crypto. He wants like to embrace crypto. Actually, he wants to support a bank in Florida which will be allowing people to on and off ramp on Bitcoin. So but he said like on that point, buy your Bitcoin. I mean, get them off exchanges, and also if possible look for a good Bitcoin friendly jurisdiction like Florida in the US, or you can shift to Dubai.
Yeah. Maybe Texas or Florida, Wyoming, and some other places in the US, but not so many. Yeah, Montana, or yeah, Wyoming, I think Montana, Florida is like because of this DeSantis, and then you have also Texas, probably where also like many people from San Francisco are moving into.
Or
Yeah, and
you can go El
Singapore,
Salvador,
El Salvador, of
is
course,
the
El
home
Salvador.
is the home of Bitcoin and all
Yeah.
Central African Republic, in
Yeah, and
Africa.
some, and let's hope some other places in Africa, or at least in our in our time zone. So I don't know about Europe. Maybe Hungary could be such country. Portugal was like kind of pro crypto, but I'm not sure how this will last stand. Yeah, there could be some other places that might actually, some places that have like forward looking leaders, that have like pragmatic leaders. They might be like, okay, actually we want to get all these tech people, all this tech talent fleeing from the US or Western Europe, if the crypto bans are actually happening, and we want to get them into our jurisdictions. And
Yeah.
and many people are kind of criticizing this, like saying it's unrealistic, because I don't know, the UAE is still under like a US security umbrella, and I don't know about Singapore and stuff like that. But you have some historical parallels, like let's say the London became like a very important financial center because it was doing some kind of trades that the US wasn't doing, in dollars. So they created this like euro dollar market, and something similar could be like with these like offshore places where that will be pro crypto. Actually, the UAE is like starting like signaling that they are pro crypto. They're starting some crypto free zone, or something like a free zone for crypto, something like a special innovation zone, something like that.
Actually, it's not crazy because a while ago we could see also like in US, this is a good example because in US previously all nations banned marijuana ban in their state, but now state decided to regulate marijuana and making them legal. So this one can also happen in the US. We are seeing the state of Florida doing that, and Texas. So this one can move to other, states because it has happened before with say legalizing marijuana.
Yeah. Especially also what you are referring to is these cities. How do they call it? Yeah. Yeah, now the name eludes me, but it's like they have like these safe spaces for like, I don't know, immigration or something. So it's like oh Lord, I forgot the name. It's like oh god, okay, it will sanctuary
Yeah.
cities. That's
Mhm.
the name,
Oh,
sanctuary
sanctuary.
cities. Okay, yeah, sanctuary cities for let's say you have also like left leaning causes and right wing causes. So you have like a sanctuary cities for like illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. Then you have like one for marijuana, and then but you can have also like one for like gun ownerships, or
Mhm.
something that are like more pro gun than the federal the US federal authorities.
Yeah.
And with banking, it might get more difficult because we have these like federal, like I don't know, there's some like systems like to move around money, some Fedwire, I don't know, ACH, I don't know, it's like many of these like something like Swift, these kind of
Mhm.
things. Mm, but it might be it's the necessity is the mother of invention. So I
Yeah.
guess they might come with these things that actually Fed refused before, like these new innovations, like the narrow bank, the bank that is like mostly on like securing it's just providing the security for your assets, but it's not lending them out. So it's like one idea, and they could like I don't know, they could come up with like some new novel ways, because you have like Bitcoin Lightning, so probably it's pretty fast, it's like you don't, I don't know, it's just like what might happen is like what Balaji talked about like a long time ago, that you have these neo banks, like these new kind of fintech startups, and you have these legacy old banks that are currently crumbling. And what might happen is that actually Bitcoin Lightning might ripple, and Ethereum or Solana and or some L2s might actually replace the backend, the crumbling banks, and you will just like get let's say Bitcoin Lightning plus the front end in the like a very nice user experience. And I mean, it's probably you still need you need some like of course fiat on ramps probably.
Yeah.
At least some stable coins, or the new type of stable coins that might actually emerge. Also, like Balaji talks about it, like flat coins that might actually be designed to keep prices stable amid like growing inflation or even hyperinflation. So this all this innovation might happen, and actually it might be quite fast, so because as Balaji said, like these kind of changes happen quite fast, and we are more connected than ever. So the ideas fly quite a lot, and people might just like distrust the banking system, and for a good reason. That was actually discussed back in the last year by even regulators. There was like one video I shared like from a meeting of FDIC brokers or something. And they were discussing, I think it was from November 2022, and they were discussing like how they shouldn't discuss this openly because people might freak out, but like basically that banks are facing some problems. So it's basically, and you have this Arthur Haynes. Now you are showing it that that's the Crypto Haynes, that's his Twitter handle, Crypto Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
You should listen to his Bankless podcast episode that's explaining
Actually,
the current financial crisis.
I also like this GIF by Balaji, just trying to summarize the events,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, yeah, and they say they can't be kicked any longer. This crisis won't be like the others. BTF, I mean BTFP was $25 billion on March 12. Then suddenly $2 trillion on March 16. In reality, it's unlimited. Holding asset in dollars anywhere means devaluation, but Bitcoin is a global safe haven.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically that's one reason, because like we are digital, so you see also these graphs going digital like from 0 to 1, or like totally vertical. Yeah, there is like one example here. So that's like one reason. Another reason might be like geopolitical, because people like saw what happened to Trump. Like he was deplatformed as a sitting US president from Twitter, but also they saw what happened to Russian US reserves being frozen.
Yeah, yeah.
Which it's like you can be like I'm of course like Ukraine is our neighbor here, so I'm definitely against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They're committing atrocities there, and like and all this inflation is caused by it. But it's it's a complex issue. Probably the war should somehow end as soon as possible, and some peace should be negotiated, because it's kind of causing the inflation, or it caused a lot of inflation and suffering around the world. But of course, it's not that simple, because sometimes wars take a long time. So, but the idea here is that basically during as part of as a part of the sanctions, the U.S. reserves were frozen. US dollars reserves, the Russian reserves, the assets of the the central bank were frozen. Yeah, and that's also like a precedent where I think many kind of world leaders from various countries, they were like, okay, this can, it's not
This
your
can
money.
happen to us also.
Yeah, this can happen
It
to
raised an
anyone.
alarm. Actually, it was we have BitSignal, but we also had sanction signal, to other countries. This
And
signal.
it's like one of many signals. So I think, and then it's just because, and now with this BitSignal, basically, it's like the Overton window kind of shifts and opens or widens. And now people actually realize that actually, if you have the money in your bank, it's kind of similar situation. It's actually, it's not your money. It's like,
They're calling it, I don't know, third party risk, something like that. There's
it's
a
like
terminology they use, I think, something.
counterparty risk.
Counterpart
And
risk.
so or third party, counterparty risk. And so Bitcoin is, if you hold Bitcoin locally, it's like the only asset, or one of, or crypto in general. It's like, if you hold it locally, you don't have counterparty risk.
Yeah.
Of course, it fluctuates a lot. You can still have a lot of other risks, but this is like one where, if you have money in your bank, then actually it's not your money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insured. Let's say there is some limits, but if shit hits the fan, if we can swear here for a while, it's like, then
The SVB, what happens if when people are withdrawing their money very quickly,
yeah
they're liquidating,
then you might, it's just like you are loaning it to the bank, and the bank, of course, they are doing the fractional reserve banking, which might, it's a historical precedent. Probably is a great innovation, but probably it's also making the banks fragile. Probably, like, to have something like a narrow bank, it's also a good idea, but of course, I think also giving loans to real economy, like to build some housing, to build some factories or whatever, shopping malls, you need, like, to give out loans. So these community banks in the US are doing like important service. But but generally, okay. But people realize that actually, okay, wait, this is the similar situation. Like, the money you thought are yours are actually not yours. Like, they are. They could be just like the bank can fail, and you are loaning it to the bank. I heard a great metaphor. It's like. Imagine you park a car with a valet or something, like the guy who you gave him the key in front of the hotel, and he drives it into a garage. And while you are at the hotel or restaurant or something, he's like, he loans it to some Uber driver, and the Uber driver crashes it, and then you have your car crashed, and you're like, what? But you were just supposed to park it, there or something. But this is actually a good example what happens.
I think I like that example. That's a good example because that's what the banking system does. Because when it gets your money, this is your money that you have worked, for it. You through your sweat, and then you give it to the bank. The bank, when the money stays in the bank, it becomes a liability to them because of the interest that you gain after some time. So they have to dish it out for loans for them to make also profit, because bank make profit through giving loans to the people. It's not by taking deposits into the bank. So they have to dish out these loans to people outside who wants loan to make profit from the loans, or invest in, for example, in a big investment like mortgage or any other projects by the government or by the bank. So that system is like kind of stealing from people and doing investment on your behalf. And then at the same time, when there's a crisis, you're limiting these people from withdrawing their money, because the money is not real. It's not there actually, because it's just numbers. when you go to your bank account, you're just seeing numbers. But if you really want to withdraw, for example, all your money, if you had, for example, say $500 million at that particular point, you can't, because even the bank maybe doesn't have that $500 million at that moment. So that system gives mistrust to the people outside.
Yeah, just like I think it was $42 billion that was withdrawn from the Silicon Valley Bank within 24 hours.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You see,
it's crazy.
And actually, what is said is like the system, the banking system, what Fed made is like the physical money actually is not more than 10%, that they printed. But the loans that they create, the money that they create through, for example, through the Fed or the commercial banks, what the money that they create through loans, it's actually like say the 90% of that, the remaining, but now that money is not it's not there. It's from thin air, and it's numbers, virtual numbers. They give you that money, but physical money which is circulating is like 10% out of it. So that's why you see, like, if in case of crisis they cannot manage, because if everybody is withdrawing that amount of money, it's only 10%, the total money, physical money is 10%. So, and people can't withdraw. I mean, people have more than 20, I may say 10%. So, because they created the money out of thin air through the loan, so.
Yeah. So it's all about like, the belief, or like how you trust the bank, and if the bank loses the trust, and then there is this bank run, and it's like oh, no bank can survive such a like a bank run, or even like a digital bank run. But now the problem is also that it's like spread into so many banks. It's like 300 banks or 180 banks, and you see like Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, and actually these two banks had some other scandals pre-year, like money laundering scandals.
Actually, Dutch Bank had 1,700 cases. There's somebody, I was just reading an article, 1,700 cases total, like in terms of fraud, in terms of all that.
Okay, yeah, Deutsche Bank, yeah. So it's just like, yeah, but this Operation Choke Point 2.0 is like also real, and I can see it with, I have like two banks, and one of them actually it's like VUB Bank. It's like, it's not crypto friendly at all. Like they didn't want me to buy some crypto on Kraken, and I was like tweeting at them that the Kraken is like the OG exchange, like the crypto exchange, like the
in
successor
Europe.
of the Mount Gox. It's not just some random, but it's like one of the two, or what, the US based crypto exchanges. And I called the bank, and they said like they have it on some kind of blacklist because of some spam, whatever, some bullshit kind of reason they gave me. So I tweeted at them, and I mean they didn't reply, but it was like, and it was actually like 2 months ago or something. But then they said,
yeah,
but
I actually
saw
the tweet
you
tweeted there.
and but they or 1 month ago, I don't know, time flies, but the Coinbase was still okay, and now this week or last week I couldn't even do the Coinbase, so the
really?
Coinbase,
What happened to you on Coinbase?
I don't know. They also put it on a blacklist or something, and even I have like a Coinbase debit card, and the card didn't work.
Wow.
So
Actually, it happened to me. Maybe you can finish your story, but I can also talk about also
yeah,
my
no, I'm
story.
just saying it's good to like kind of to observe it, to have the skin in the game, and to observe it with your own eyes, and like to have some kind of skin in the game. But as we said, like buy Bitcoin and get it off exchanges. So of course, like I have like just some small amount there just to have some skin in the game. But yeah, it's just like you can buy it and you can move it, and even the Kraken CEO, he's like explicitly advocating for this. He's like earning his money on the fees, or let's say on trading. But if you want just to buy some Bitcoin, you just buy it and you get it off exchanges. So, but now the US is going after crypto, the US regulators, and also some uh, obviously some other banks like here the VUB bank and just like really don't like like this bank now. I'm a customer since I was 15 years old, so it's quite some time, over 20 years now, 23 years. And actually, no, there is no love for this bank. Sorry. It's just like, yeah, for me, you don't exist anymore. It's just like, don't care about you. Like, I mean, with Kraken, and
I
when
can
they did
feel
it
you.
with Kraken, yeah, I hated them when they did it with Kraken, but I was like, okay, Coinbase is still here. So and now they don't allow me to purchase crypto on Coinbase. So it's just like, I'm done with you. Sorry, it's like no law. You don't exist for me. It's just like I have another bank which it was still okay last week.
Actually, I got your tweet,
Let's
so let
see.
me just
Yeah,
display it
yeah,
here. Just continue.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like
It's
yeah,
just this
that's
a Slovak bank, VUB bank, and Kraken on a blacklist. Just so you know, a US regulated OG crypto exchange that took over the MTGOX, the
Mount
banker,
Gox. Yeah, Mount Gox.
yeah, Mt. Gox. The banker I called didn't know anything. Said maybe there was some customer complaints. This must be illegal, and they pursue further actions.
Yeah, I will pursue further action. So I don't know. I didn't still pursue further action, but I actually okay. I wrote like one blog at least. Like I mentioned them in like in a Slovak article, a blog article, and then now I'm mentioning VUB Bank in this podcast. Uh, my bank, VUB Bank, I hate you, just like for banning crypto, and this is just like one of the many statements and further actions that I will pursue against you, because like this digital lockdown. Okay, it's orders of magnitude different from the communism or socialism, but like in our country, people were trying to flee Czechoslovakia, and they were shot at the border, by the
Patrol
border
police.
guards. I told this story like a couple of times, but they were escaping to the west, to Austria, and they were
Yeah.
shot at the border. And this is of course not the same, because they don't they the bank doesn't shoot you, but it kind of, it prohibits your exit. So it kind of yeah it
Mhm.
it's very, I mean, it's orders of magnitude different, but it's prohibiting you to exit fiat into crypto, and basically crypto is the new west, so it like kind of what what America was to Europe is now crypto to USA. It's like it's the new frontier. So and now the bank is prohibiting you to just buy some some Bitcoin. It's just
Yeah.
like, what you can, what's it's like, you have KYC.
Hmm.
It's the biggest, or no, okay, maybe it's not the biggest, but it's like the most legit US based stock exchange.
Yeah.
Coinbase, right? Or
Yeah.
Kraken, it's also like a legit. Kraken also has their own bank, and I think the regulators didn't approve it. So this is it's very clear. These kind of Balajisms, like, okay, the crypto is to the US what America was to Europe, these kind of. But now you can see it like with your own eyes. This is like really, you have like Coinbase or you have Kraken, that are US companies that are trying to do the next level thing, and they just try to do it globally and just like onboard as many people as possible to crypto, and they are providing KYC, I don't know, identity. They're acting like smart regulators fighting
Yeah.
scammers. And now you have some legacy bank, and they just like, no, there is no law. There is no nothing, like why they just like decided from their own
Hmm.
to put it some on a blacklist. But this will come to
Yeah.
light. This kind of
Yeah, it's true.
shenanigans will come to light, and people will actually pay for it. Like they will be either prosecuted, or they will be like, it's something similar to socialism or communism. Like these kind of shenanigans will come to light. It's probably there is maybe some coordinated action, or they're coordinating it with either some European or the US partners. And I don't think that they just like came it's not just their idea to ban. You know, like what the hell? You know, you're not buying anything illegal. You're not doing anything illegal on the internet. You are buying the internet money on the internet, using internet as a free sovereign citizen, doing in a free freaking country. And yeah, of course there are other ways how to buy it, but it's, you know, like, but this is just like the normal mainstream way how to do crypto. And being unbanked, actually also the Coinbase card stopped working as well.
Wow.
For some reason, might be related, might be unrelated, I don't know. Yeah, so it feels like, okay, it's good, but it's good to have a skin in the game. It's good to understand like what unbanked being means. So this is what it means to be unbanked. So the VUB bank doesn't allow you to buy Kraken, but allows you to buy Coinbase, and then now they don't allow you to even buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. So yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So
it actually happened to me with my local bank. You know, at some point I was able to, you know, maybe I should start with this bit. I mean, crypto is not banned in our country. You know, it's not banned. There's no law. It's not regulated, and there's no law which is saying the crypto trading is banned here. You know, so people trade peer to peer, but the banks have been regulated by the CBK. You know, not to do that. You know, but I was surprised because when I added my card from this bank, it's called Equity Bank, it actually went through at that particular point, you know. So that showed me maybe they're supporting it or something like that, you know. So I was doing some transaction, you know. So I was withdrawing some money from my Coinbase to the bank, you know, for some time, you know. After say several months, then I received a letter. Actually, I didn't receive. The bank called me. The bank operation manager called me, like, Duke, can you please come to the bank? We have a meeting with you. So we went there. I thought it was local issue, maybe with my account. Then I reached there. I was given a letter. Can you please read the letter? You know, so the letter was saying like, we are closing. Actually, it was not defining why they are closing the bank account. You know, they said like in the letter, we are closing your bank account in 14 days. You know, no explanation. So if there's any money in that bank account, please withdraw it. But we are closing your bank account, and you cannot open any new account with our bank.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, you know. So then I had to interrogate the manager, the operation manager, and then he told me like, it's because maybe you've been doing crypto transaction through. But I asked them like, but why did your card also was accepted? You know, but I was saying, oh, this issues from the headquarters. You know, it's not even under our control. Blah blah blah. You know, but I was pissed off because I not open any bank. I mean, any bank account with them. You know, so that means I've been blacklisted completely. You know, though I have bank account with other banks in Kenya, but that was in fact, it was my first bank. Just as you said, I opened it when I was starting the project, you know, in Soto Hub project. I was joining the Soto Hub project in 2014. So it is like one of my first old bank account, you know. So yeah, it hurts at some point.
Yeah, and there was this, you know, the Equity Bank was also cooperating with the school, right? With the
Marungu.
with your school Marungu, and they had like this training company, like a practice bank.
No, it was KCB, Kenya Commercial Bank.
Sorry. Okay, Equity was involved in some other project.
In the printing,
I made a mistake.
Yeah, they were cooperating actually with the printing company also in Marungu, practice company also in Marungu.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the printing company. Okay, so the KCB was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, KCB was the one which was you know, a role model to the practice company which was giving like banking services in our school. You know. Yeah, but yeah, but it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because. Yeah, I mean, but it's like the mother, the necessity is the mother of invention. So, yeah, I mean, it feels really bad. I mean, it happened to me like once with my bank as well. Not that they closed it, but then they didn't. It was just some like kind of small loan. It was a long time ago, and they didn't approve it. It was like an overdraft or something. But I had the feeling from them that, they asked like how many people are registered on our address. Like I was still living with my parents. I think, yeah, or even not living, that I had like a permanent residence with my parents.
Yeah.
And I said like 7, because I have like 4 sisters, so we are like 5 kids and two parents.
Yeah.
And I had the feeling like they didn't approve this overdraft just because of that, because they thought like we are like some kind of, I don't know, like we have these like marginalized Roma communities in Slovakia. They're like living in generational poverty, like below poverty line.
Yeah.
And I had the feeling like they thought like we are kind of like, yeah, just like yeah, that was like my feeling that I had from the bank teller. Once I mentioned that we are like 7 people on that address or something,
Yeah.
then she refused the
Crazy.
to give me the loan. It was like
Crazy.
just some small, maybe 300. I mean, it's relatively small, like let's say 300 like euro overdraft. And I
Yeah.
was like very young. It was like, I don't know, really almost like 20 years or 15 years
Wow.
ago or something like that. Uh, I don't know. We have euros since 2009, so I don't remember, but it was, I guess, after 2009. Yeah, so it could be 13 years or 15. So I don't know. So it could be, I could remember it incorrectly, but anyhow. But the idea was like I had this like, yeah, I felt like bad, like being discriminated against. Maybe it was just like in my head, but really, everything goes well until you say something like, oh, look, there are 7 people living in the dress. Then she says like, okay, it's not possible or something like that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
there was like one issue, but like with this crypto, with the Kraken, yeah, I was not happy. And sometimes the bank does stupid stuff, like, I don't know, you buy something like online, and they block your card, so you have to call them again, like to unblock it, and it's something totally legit. So the bank is quite conservative, but like, okay, they had Coinbase, and then now they don't support it. So I was like, yeah, this VUB bank, I'm greeting you again for the 5th time. I'm finished with you. Just like, go to hell. I don't care about you. Like, what what happens to you? It's just like no emotions. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I don't even feel hate towards you. It's just like, bye bye. It's just like, yeah. But
Yeah.
this is a good topic. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So let's wind up this podcast with the ongoing adoption of Bitcoin as our last topic.
Okay.
Yeah, Machankura is a custodial Bitcoin wallet that enables Africans without smartphones or internet access to send and receive Bitcoin via USSD shortcodes. User can manage their wallets through their USSD menu, which interacts with the Lightning Network on the backend, allowing for fast and free Bitcoin transactions. Machankura's breakthrough brings Bitcoin to the center of the mobile and money, revolutions, not only in Africa, but globally, by enabling financial inclusion and instant payment services in developing markets. So Machankura is available in 8 countries, African countries, that is Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Uganda, and Zambia via USSD shortcodes. So as Bitcoin adoption grows, Machankura's could potentially help expand Bitcoin adoption to the estimated 2.9 billion people on Earth who lack internet access. So this is a platform which actually I'm very, very happy about it, because yeah, it really embrace, the adoption of Bitcoin. Maybe I could maybe just display it here also for other people to see it. Yeah, so it's a great innovation. For the Bitcoin adoption. So this is our website, and you could see like it's just the same as M-Pesa in Kenya, whereby you could use like USSD, like just dial like they've given the USSD numbers here. For example, in Kenya, I could dial like *83 star triple three hash, and I could register and I can send money, through to somebody who is in Malawi or in South Africa through USSD, and the person receive. And actually, it can also generate on-chain Bitcoin address, whereby I can even give you the address, to send me the Bitcoin from, for example, Coinbase to that USSD, and I can also redeem it and I think remove it via mobile banking. So this is a hope, it's a candle of hope to many people who do not have smartphone, say in Africa or any other part of the world, and it also shows that adoption of Bitcoin is really increasing all over the world.
Yeah, this is this example of this innovation and very practical that we discussed before, that you have the Bitcoin Lightning on the back end, and you have something like M-Pesa, right, on the front end, or still like, is this USSD technology that works on the interface that works on feature phones. So you even don't need to have a you don't need to even have a smartphone to buy Bitcoin, thanks to this service. It's amazing. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
You don't need to have internet, and you don't need to have
actually there's
you don't
another
need to have a smartphone.
Actually, there's another tweet by Mackenzie. He says, witnessing how entrepreneurs, this guy is mentioned about Bernard Para, and for 40 are revolutionizing Africans' broken payment rails with Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. 2,000 payment networks in Africa, and 2% of them talk to each other. How BTC is beginning to fix that. So this is an article by
Great.
CNBC. So it says like Bitcoin is poised to blow up Africans' $86 billion banking system. So
Cool,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. This is like very practical. Innovation that or practical example of that, like payment innovation that could be using like Bitcoin Lightning. So kudos to them, and it's respect. It's really good that what they are doing, and I think this is like one way how to exit the fiat and enter crypto, also using like this service. So maybe Duke, you can again tell their name, just so I don't misspell it.
Machankura.
Machankura.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Machankura.
And maybe just to wind up, but also like because like, okay, so we now discussed about unbanking and deplatforming, so people will experience more of it. Probably it won't be like totally successful, but people will feel like the crunch or the some kind of like maybe anti crypto sentiment for a while. But it's very sad what happened to you, like with that you actually lost your account. That's even more crazy than what I experienced. Just like I couldn't buy it, so I bought it with another bank. Okay. But this is crazy. What I heard is also happening in the US. Some banks are closing some accounts of some people just like because they use crypto. It's crazy, and I think this will be really something like and in the future people will think that this is not acceptable, and it will be like how we hate or people at least in our countries hate communism or socialism. They will really look down upon these kind of practices. They will be like, you are not allowing people to exit fiat.
It's very crazy.
And it's really like digital lockdowns, or it's like authoritarian like China, but like still chaotic like Venezuela or something. It's like it's not good. But okay, but to end maybe on a positive note, these examples like in Bitcoin Lightning innovation is really good, and what could maybe work is like Bitcoin bounties. Also using Bitcoin Lightning network, like this could be something like to onboard people onto Bitcoin, like as we discussed before, like with Replit bounties and with 1729 bounties. So I think this is like maybe just like an idea, maybe like as we discussed before, like with related to network states and like maybe Solana something, but like these crypto bounties and especially Bitcoin bounties could be like one way how people could actually get into Bitcoin, without using fiat. It's just like let's say they are doing some entering some competitions either with some creative content or coding, and then if they win it, they can they actually get Bitcoin directly. For it's like what Balaji did with his earn.com that he sold to Coinbase. But I think this is like this will become an important channel to onboard people into Bitcoin. I think also in the near future. So I think Balaji he could create like he should or could shift his focus with the network state into like Bitcoin network state, or onboarding people into Bitcoin within the next 90 days or 80 something days, or what, just it would be interesting, like with these crypto tasks.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, I think we'll be happy if you host him and ask those questions and see his perspective on how also we can link both the network state and also the Bitcoin
The
adoption,
BitSignal,
the BitSignal, yeah. The
yeah.
BitSignal, so that it can raise more awareness, like people, they can onboard people through network state and raise that awareness, to the millions of people outside there. Yeah, but yeah, it's true what you have said. But I will stress out to the people outside there, like put again the BitSignal alarm. Please buy Bitcoin.
And get it off exchanges.
Get them off exchanges because the hyperinflation is coming. The winter, the fiat Twitter is coming.
Yeah,
So,
and we don't know if it's in 2 months or 2 years, but Balaji thinks it will be within 90 days or so.
yeah.
And so let's hope he's not right. Actually, he also doesn't want to be right. So because the Balaji is right is the three scariest words in English language. So Balaji was right.
Yeah,
it's the scariest three words in English. So let's hope he's not right.
Yeah, it's true. It will be scary to hear at that time where Bitcoin hits 1 million. Is like we say, like Balaji was right. It would be very sad.
Yeah. Actually, that's somebody said this. I forgot who was it, but Balaji was right. The three scariest words in English. So, yeah. So let's hope he's not right this time. But like he doesn't ring these alarms that often. He did it with Corona, and he was right back then. So let's hope this time he's not right, at least time wise. But but still it might happen even faster than he thinks. It might be within 1 month, or it might happen in 2 years, which is still quite fast. So let's see. Or longer, but another prediction is like 2 years, so let's see.
Thank you, Jakub, for your time. And I'd love to finish this podcast with this tweet, which I tweeted. The best time to, there's this Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best second time is now. But I'll also say Balaji BitSignal says the best time to get Bitcoin was 2009, but the best second time to get some few sats, it's now. So I'd love to end this podcast with that. So,
that's great.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo This podcast, please subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.